the Vivobarefoot Primus Lite 3's all weathers. I've had these bad boys about a month now, so here's what I think about them, and also here's how water resistant I found them to be. So here's the important stuff I'm going to talk about in this video and about these shoes. First of all, I'm going to talk about my first impressions, so how they look and feel. Then I'm going to talk about how they perform on the road and just day to day. And then I've also got a water resistance test or run, as it were. So first impressions, look and feel. I think they look epic, and I know one of the downfalls of a lot of barefoot shoes is just how they look. I know that's a subjective thing, but these can definitely get away with looking like a fairly ordinary shoe, and a lot of people just don't really notice very much, which I think is a good thing. And personally, I think these bad boys look pretty sick. And now my first impressions when you're putting them on, just like any other Vivobarefoot shoe really, is that they're just super light and flexible. You don't get much lighter than this, much more flexible than this from that point of view. And these are as close to walking barefoot as you're gonna get outside of the Vibram 5 fingers. You can feel everything on the ground, and that just feels super solid. And I know some people take the insoles out to be even more barefoot, but these feel pretty good with the insoles in, and I'm pretty happy with how they feel. They just feel super solid, nice and light, flexible on your feet, a little bit like slippers, but you can feel everything on the ground. And then how do they perform? Now, I wear these day to day, so there's some important points that I want to talk about there, but you can imagine with the weight of these bad boys, these also feel pretty light and nimble on your feet when you're running in them. They definitely promote more of a foot strike when I'm running in them, and for me, I think that's a good thing. It feels faster, I feel more purposeful with every foot strike, if that makes sense. However, I don't think they actually make me faster. It's just more of a good feeling. So when you think about this from a performance point of view, it might help you with pickup speed, and you're not lifting any more than is needed over a long run by having a heavy shoe, which might be a bit more efficient. But then on the other hand, it's your body and your joints that have to take more of the impact. So that's potentially more energy sapping there. So it's a bit of a give and take. But generally they perform really well for running if you're after a barefoot shoe to run in. And just to note, they do take a bit of getting used to, and it's a good idea to build things up slowly. But to me, they definitely feel awesome and probably as good as you're gonna get in terms of a barefoot shoe for running. And just quickly, another thing I kind of forgot is the sole feels super thin. You can feel absolutely everything in them, but they still feel quite protective, and you don't really have to worry about getting any sort of punctures. Now onto day-to-day wearing. To be honest, I just completely love them. I think part of it is they're just super light on the feet. The toe box is nice and wide, so my feet can spread and I can get a nice plant on the floor. And I just feel my ankles and joints thank me for spending long times in them when they're in a neutral position and they're not kind of compressed by a tighter shoe. They just feel super nice to wear day to day and for long periods. So really, I've got nothing bad to say about them from that point of view. I do wear them a lot, and I do stand on my feet a lot when I'm working. So it can be like 12 hours on my feet wearing these, which, you know, my feet do get achy sometimes after a really long type day if I completely just haven't sat down. But I think that's gonna happen in any shoe, and your feet and all the muscles in the lower limbs definitely have to work a bit harder in these shoes because there's no cushioning. But that's one of the benefits from having them, and it just feels good knowing that they're not cramped, they're not overheating or anything. They can spread out, and it just feels really nice. And another good thing about wearing them day to day is that it's just really easy to pack and take around with you. So if I'm going for a run, maybe I'll wear my running shoes in the morning, and then I'll just take these with me in my bag. They're just super light, easy to take around, easy just to quickly slip on. So for day to day, they're just super cool. And with how they look, I think you can get away with them as an ordinary type shoe. So I wear them around town a lot as well. So super versatile in that respect. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is a bit of a water resistance test. I wasn't too fussed about how water resistant they were. I just wanted them to be a bit warmer than my other Primus Lites and a bit more durable, which they definitely have been. But I went for a run with them the other day and it was raining, so I thought I'd take some footage of it and just see how water resistant they really are. I didn't think they were going to be great, to be honest, but let's see how they did. So the best way I think I can sum up the water resistance is by saying they're shower proof. They're pretty good. Your feet don't get soaked, but if you completely submerge them or they get completely wet, then there's no doubt about it, your feet are going to get wet. I think it comes through the laces side of things a little bit because it's a detached tongue, so it will come through there, and I think it comes up over around the heel as well, which is going to happen, isn't it? But in terms of like the shower proof, they're super good, and my feet were definitely warmer and drier than wearing another pair of normal type running shoes in the rain. So I think that's pretty good, and I'm happy with them from that point of view. I do think the water resistance might kind of wear off over time because I think it's maybe like a spray-on type repellent, and I think that will wear off over time and they'll get less and less water resistant. But to be honest, I think they're better than a normal running shoe. They're not like completely waterproof, but that's fine. So if you're looking for something completely waterproof, this probably isn't it. But in terms of just showerproof, keeping your feet a little bit drier than normal, I think these are pretty good for that. So really, that's all I wanted to say on these bad boys. I really liked them. If you liked this video in any way, if you've got a pair, then comment below, let me know what you think of them, and subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see more kind of gear reviews and things like that. It helps me to know what's good and what's not. But until my next video, have an awesome week, and I'll see you then.